Bordering both Russia and Belarus, Latvia is on the front lines, facing a near constant campaign of hybrid warfare. Everything from cyber attacks to weaponized migration. It's why it's spending nearly 5% of GDP on defence. As the European Union moves forward with flagship projects like Eastern Flank Watch and Baltic Sentry, with Latvia at the heart of them, I spoke to its president about how immediate a threat it is facing. President, thank you so much for making some time for me here in Munich. You said this morning that yes, migration is a hot potato issue, but it isn't destabilising societies, as Marco Rubio suggested yesterday. Many people may have taken a lot of alarm at that particular part of the speech.
On migration. Well, I think that if you look at European nations, there are clear signs that people elect parties that are advocating much tougher policy on migration. My own country, Latvia, is under the constant hybrid warfare from Belarus, pushing people through our borders, trying to get them into the European Union. So this is also a security risk, I would say. It's not only about the larger issues of humanity or economic development, it's also now about security and safety of countries. So from that point of view, it would not be wise to neglect this hot potato. But of course, we see that also the migration is an issue back in the United States. It's a hot political debate as we speak now. And of course, naturally, then you get officials talking about those issues on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean.
But on this point of it being destabilising when it comes to civilizational erasure, for example, do you think that was a bit too strong a point? He framed it as a fight between cultures, essentially.
Well, I think that's where we have a lot of debate, whether diversity is something that is striving our development or actually something that threatens our existence. I would say that what we have seen in many respects, and that's also something where I know that many people back home in Latvia, in my society, are thinking and are debating and are very cautious, is that integration of people from different cultural, ethnic, religious backgrounds has not been easy and sometimes actually has not produced the results that we desired. That's where there is right to debate also this part. There are good examples, there are bad examples. But we also know that there were profound mistakes, frankly, back in 2015 when there was a large migratory influx in Europe, that we were not prepared to deal with that. There was a clash between different views, and that actually raised also this discussion about where we are heading with migration.
Okay. Is the takeaway here from Munich as leaders and delegations depart that yes, Europe and the United States may not see eye to eye, but ultimately they just have to work together?
Absolutely. That's my point. I'm trying to kind of reinforce in every interview, in every panel discussion. I think we sometimes get over emotional, and we sometimes pay attention to that or another speech. One we like, another we hate. At the end of the day, when harsh reality hits all of us, all of a sudden we understand that actually Europe currently lacks a lot of defense capability, both to support Ukraine. Yes, we do that now, providing much more money to Ukraine than the United States. That's the fact. But we still need to have our own defense industry, defense capability, defense spending to be up to the commitment we made. On the other hand, I think that the United States have realized also under the current administration that in order to project power globally, in order to solve some of those issues, Transatlantic alliance is needed. And here I like Secretary Rubio's speech a lot because he outlined two elements. One, that US needs Europe as Europe needs US, and the Transatlantic Alliance still is a value for the United States. That's one element. That is something that is very important, and we should not ignore that. Another, he set the vision of the United States, what should be the core of transatlantic relationship. Here we can agree, we can disagree. There are elements I would agree, there are elements I would discuss, there are elements probably in European discussion we would disagree. But from that point of view, I think it's very clear that, like it or not, for the time being, we will have differences. We used to have them in the past. Let's remember Iraq. Let's remember Suez crisis back in 1956. But ultimately we will have to find a way how to work together. Having said that, I think that key lesson learned from all this is increase your defense spending, make your national defense priority. For us, regional defense cooperation among the Nordic Baltic countries, Poland and Germany is very important because we are bordering Russia and we do not know what is going to happen in 2 or 3 years. Strong Europe, with Ukraine being part of European Union with its defense capability, is something that I would advocate. But also a strong transatlantic relationship with the United States and Canada must be preserved and developed.
Okay, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, but first I want to ask you, Marco Rubio is heading to Hungary and Slovakia next. How do you view that trip? Because these are countries which have recently blocked aid for Ukraine, for example. How will you be looking at that trip?
Well, there are many diplomatic trips we all make. We all meet different people. And also European foreign ministers meet with their counterparts in Hungary and Slovakia. I think that, of course, because of the electoral campaign, everything that is happening in Hungary is being looked very closely. But you know, I would say that it's up to Hungarian people to decide their electoral victory. It's up to Slovak people to elect their leaders. What is important that we try to work together to advance European security, to advance European prosperity. It's not easy, not always, but you know, this morning in the panel discussion I said, let's be very careful. Olympics and politics are those two things where you can get all of suddenly huge surprises and unexpected results.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the war in Ukraine, because Zelensky has said here in Munich that all too often pressure is on Ukraine to make concessions. As we head towards another round of peace talks in Geneva next week, do you fear that we might see that again?
Frankly, I'm not very optimistic about the possible outcomes of current diplomatic efforts. I highly value what President Trump and his team, but President Zelensky and his team, but European leaders and diplomats from many European countries from different formats do right now. But what we see, Russia is not moving at all. Instead of talking about deals, agreements, we see more and more missiles hitting energy infrastructure, innocent civilians. So when it comes to the possibility to achieve deal, I hope I'm wrong, and I'll be gladly admitting that. But unfortunately, I don't see any chance for progress in coming weeks and months. If I'm wrong, I'll admit that.
Okay. Latvia has indicated that while it doesn't see an immediate threat from Russia, it is seeing strong signs that point to long-term Russian plans to undermine Latvia's security. So tell me a bit more about those signs, and especially, you know, you have parliamentary elections upcoming this year.
Hybrid warfare, different kinds of information campaigns against not only Latvia but also against other countries in the Baltic Sea region. We have seen increasing numbers of attempts and also real sabotage acts. Our security service is working day and night to prevent those. We have a number of people being tried and convicted of acts of espionage, of acts of sabotage. Those things simply happen as we speak. Those are not like, you know, blowing up airplanes, but unfortunately we have seen also some attempts not in Latvia but in other countries, to undermine also the civil infrastructure. We see some acts of sabotage also back home. We see that hybrid warfare on our border from Belarus. It's not only about Russia, it's also about Belarus. To push people across the Latvian-Belarusian border, Lithuanian-Belarusian border, Polish-Belarusian border have been there. They have stopped for now, but probably that's because also of the harsh winter conditions. We have minus 25 as we speak in the eastern part of Latvia, so it's making difficult for any kind of movement there. We see also that in Russian internal propaganda, the Baltic states, Poland, also UK, other countries are being portrayed in the kind of very black paint, and also they are kind of saying, look, let's deal also with the Baltic states, with Poland, let's attack them. And let's not underestimate Russian propaganda as well. So all those signs point to the direction that we have to be very, very cautious and vigilant of what may follow next if there is a peace in Ukraine.
Of course. And my final question for you, President, because I know you have to go. Trump's peace board is meeting next week to discuss the future of Gaza. Latvia is now sitting on the Security Council, the UN Security Council, for the first time, that hasn't yet recognized the state of Palestine.
No. We have the policy that we believe the two-state solution and the political and diplomatic process needs to come first. We are not part of the Board of Peace. I do hope that this board will achieve a long and sustainable solution for Gaza and maybe also for the wider Middle East. And if that's the case, if we can move to that direction, I think that also we will be having next steps. But at this point, it has been long-standing policy of Latvian government that two-state solution comes first before the recognition. But I just hope that really what the United States have done by securing a deal in Gaza will be implemented through also further steps to the Board of Peace. And of course, there have been debate about the scope of the work of the Board of Peace. We are ready to look at it, but at this point we sit at UN Security Council. We are ready to assist in any way we can through UN Security Council, be it the Middle East, be it Ukraine, be it any other conflict in the world.
Perfect. President, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.